From page to stage and then back again, a novel 30 years in the making that unpacks war, family, and redemption with unflinching honesty. And it makes its debut. Dallas playwright and educator turned novelist Angela Wilson is here to take us inside of the pages of White Dan for 200. Good morning to you.
Hi.
So glad to have you here. Okay, let's hop right in because I want to know everything about this book because like we said, 30 years in the making, you guys. Can you tell me a little bit about the journey from stage play to screenplay, then to novel?
Well, you can imagine that when I grew up, that Vietnam dominated my whole childhood.
Right.
And I was a military brat, so of course. And I always thought we had a residual pain from that. So I wanted to write a story and put it on stage with one character that was in a situation related to the 1970s and the aftermath.
Wow.
Years later, I think I was going to write a screenplay, and by then Afghanistan and Iraq had come along, so I thought, I'll take that same character and people around him and put him in a screenplay where I could expand it from one room into different locations.
Right.
And I could add flashbacks and all that stuff. So by the time I wrote a novel, I was like, I could really do a big narrative and bring it all the way up to 2023 and live out this man's entire life.
Wow.
This soldier.
Your creative headspace, I mean, it goes quite far. My goodness, I mean, you're thinking long. You're working for the long game, for sure.
It's the story I was born to tell.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's talk about the main character, Dan Keller. He is nearly a 100-year-old World War II veteran living in a nursing home. What inspired his character?
Well, he was a hero of 3 wars. He went to Korea and to Vietnam. So he was the, cock of the walk in his town, in his small town. What really inspired it was that when my father was in his last days, he was so proud of his military service. However, he did not get to fight in World War II, and that was the Great War. They all wanted to fight that one. He would leave his papers out on the hospice bed, and people, EMTs, everybody would come in and thank you for your service, thank you for your service. It was the thing he's most proud of. And I watched him and I thought, this is fiction, but I thought, what if I put this man in his old age, reliving all of his stories, the stories I'd never heard.
Right. My goodness. What does that make you feel? I want to back up to your real life for a second. With your father in his final days, what does that make you feel in your heart? Because I'm the daughter of a military serviceman as well, and I can only imagine what that would make me feel to see everybody commending him for all the hard work that he had done in his lifetime.
Well, he had done hard work, but he never felt like he got to fight the right war.
Oh, okay, so he was still stuck on that one war.
He was stuck on that one war. We watched war movies all my life, and I love the idea that men, create their macho sense of self from that generation, tied back to World War II.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Okay, so we're not the only daughters, right? Because also in the book, he has a daughter, long
fiction.
Overlooked. And so tell me, because they obviously have challenges, what was their relationship like?
Oh, it was antagonistic always, always. He never could say his true feelings about her or say a kind word to her, basically. Just how he was macho, and that's how he behaved.
And we get to see that relationship kind of unfold.
All the impact, all the impact.
Okay, so what do you hope people take away from the story after they're done? What do you hope?
I hope that they take away the fact that our older people need to tell their stories, whether they embellish them or not. They need to get their stories out. We need to hear them and give us a chance maybe to bond at the end of their life and have a new relationship with them.
Yes, indeed. Okay, quickly, if you could, tell me the meaning behind the title.
Okay, so of course it's a Jeopardy game, and there is a Jeopardy game in one of the chapters that is the climax of the book. But his name is Wyatt Dan Keller. And in the South, they say White Dan.
White Dan.
So I was like, it's Texas, it's the South. He came from the South. White Dan.
I love it. I love it. So you worked for years as a playwright. We talked about her being an arts educator here in Dallas. So how did your theater background kind of play into making all of this happen and making it all come together?
Well, I wrote plays for my own theater company here in Dallas back in the day. And dialogue is my love and my strength. I want to give actors good stuff to work with. And I also wanted it to be a visual thing. So in a novel, you're reading it along, but I want it to be visual as well. I want them to see it.
Well, you have really hit the nail on the head with this one. I mean, stellar job to you. Tell me, where can people find the book?
It's on Amazon, of course. Amazon or Barnes & Noble has, you can order it there. I have a White Dan for 200 at outlook.com email if anybody ever wants to contact me.